So we couldn't just let this thing die. You know, we put so much work into it. We're so proud of it. We knew it was going to be something. And so sort of on the side, a bunch of us just kept working on it. You know, just day to day, we'd spend a few hours. Some of our QA people, they'd been reassigned, but they kept working on it. And we finished it up. We got it to a point where it was really stable. It was really high quality. And we called that, at that point, Camino. We had to shift the name for copyright reasons. We called it Camino 0.7. And we pushed that out the door. And that was sort of a last effort product of Netscape for the community. And people loved it. They went crazy. You know, even if they hadn't been following the whole history, they saw this and they'd tell their friends and they'd tell two friends and so on and so on. And the word of mouth was just insane. People loved this little browser. It was fast. It rendered the whole internet. It was Mac native. You know, it did all the things that they wanted a browser to do. And so we were all very encouraged. Like, wow, you know, we can actually do something that people really like. It's not another Netscape 6. We shipped something people like. And one of the main reasons they liked it was the quality was so high. You know, it barely crashed. You know, it didn't have very many problems at all because we had this very high bar for release. You know, we wouldn't ship it unless we were positive that it was going to be incredible quality. So now what do we do next? All right. Well, Netscape isn't around anymore to work on it. You know, none of those engineers. So we sort of have to find other people to work on it. Well, that's our community. You know, those are all those people who had gravitated to the project because of its ease of use and its speed and its growing success now started to become our open source community. And so for 0.8, we were able to do an entire release cycle entirely done through the open source community. There was no Netscape, you know, no assistance from any paid corporation at that point. It was done entirely by the open source community. We had QA, you know, people downloading nightly builds and testing them. We found a lot of good developers, people who are good in Cocoa, people who understood the back end of Gecko, who could help us out. You know, it really was done entirely by the community. And it was sort of a big step up for us because we realized not just that people want to use this, but people want to participate in this. People want to become part of this community because we're doing the right thing. You know, even though they see that we don't have all the bells and whistles, you know, it's not completely done yet, but they see the promise and they see that they want to be a part of that. So after we shipped 0.8, which people loved even more than 0.7, and part of that was because the quality was even higher, we knew we had a tall order ahead of us. You know, what is the big milestone in any open source project? Well, it's that magical 1.0. You know, probably 99% of open source projects get to version 0.1.2.9.7 A4B, and you know, they're just stuck that way on fresh meat for the rest of their existence. But we wanted real users to download our software, and so we knew we had to have that magical 1.0. So if we didn't, people would just look at it and compare us to those fresh meat things and say, well, what's the guarantee this won't delete my hard drive? It's not done yet. You know, people have this barrier at 1.0 that they won't touch anything before that. So we had to get to that major milestone. And getting to that major milestone meant that we had to have a quality that was as high or higher than 0.8. Which is really hard because we'd already set an incredibly high bar for ourselves with the previous two releases. So it came down to really just drawing a line in the sand and saying, we have to get this out. We can't just delay it until it's perfect because we know it's never going to be perfect. We're the developers. We see all the warts. The community reports the bugs every day. They see the warts. You know, we're not able to take a step back and see all of the promise of this little application. So finally, we just made the call. We say, you know, at the point we get it to the quality, we're going to fix these, you know, 20 bugs, and we're going to 1.0. At the same time, we also had a documentation group who rebranded our entire website along with 1.0. So not only was it a user release with a user-friendly version number, but we also switched to a user-friendly website, and I'll talk some more about that. And we realized, you know, we finally got there. We shipped 1.0, I think February of last year, and we did it. You know, we went from ground zero to something that gets, you know, 100,000 or 200,000 downloads every little dot revision that we release, solely through this community of testers, of designers, of engineers, you know, people who just download bugs or download builds and file bugs, and that's their only connection to the project. You know, this little community was able to ship something that my mom and dad would use. You know, it wasn't this geeky project that had 200,000 preferences and, you know, you could send a secure email from the URL bar. It was something that people actually wanted to use, and we did it.